Hi everyone, welcome to Dr. Sue and You. I am your host, Dr. Sue. I'm really excited about today's show. Joining me today is Daniel Tolson. He is coming to us from Taiwan today, and we are going to talk to him about unlocking your human potential and breaking through mental blocks. Daniel mostly helps people unleash their new income potential. But today we're not only going to discuss that, we're going to talk about unleashing the emotional potential within you to achieve everything that you desire. So Daniel, welcome to the show.
Hey Dr. Sue, good to see you and wonderful to be here with you.
It's wonderful to have you here with me, and thank you so much for getting up at 3:45 a.m. in Taiwan to be here with me today. I really do appreciate that.
My pleasure. My father was a farmer, and he said, get up before the sun and don't come home till the work's done.
So I guess that never changed for you, huh?
I don't think it'll change.
Danny, when we talked, I was fascinated by you and your story. I'm mostly fascinated because you have this, aurora about you that you really do believe that anybody can unleash the potential within themselves to achieve whatever they desire. So first, please tell us about your journey to where you are today, because I think that is also really fascinating.
At school, I would run. I'd be running around and my legs would collapse, a little bit like Forrest Gump. And then I'd get bleeding noses, and my teachers would tell me, Daniel doesn't try hard enough. If he just focused a little bit more, he'd be a good student. Maybe he's a little bit stupid, maybe he's a little bit dumb. And at age 11, I came home and one day I just collapsed. And my mum said it was like a bag of bones, just collapsed on the floor. So they took me to the doctors. They started to have a look what was possibly holding me back. My spine was twisted, my neck was out of alignment, and the platelets in the skull were pushing down on the left and right hemisphere of the brain. And this was causing extreme headaches, migraine headaches, and it created a visual impairment. And I was also tone deaf. So I'm going through school, I'm visually impaired, I'm tone deaf, and I'm living with this migraine headache. And eventually they diagnosed me with linear sequential learning disability. And they took me out of the regular class and they put me in a special class. And the special class was called the Space Lab. Now I was really excited because I think a lot of children grow up thinking that they would like to be an astronaut. So I thought I was special, and they put me in the special room called the Space Lab. But it was for the kids who are off the planet. So that's what I spent 5 years in remedial therapy, and then I contracted Epstein-Barr virus, chronic fatigue, teenage chickenpox. I dropped out of school because I couldn't keep up, and then I was in back-to-back surgeries with knee reconstructions for 2 years. So the first 19 years of my life was a big challenge, and I really felt personally that I was left behind.
And then one day, after all that happened and you recovered from it, you say to your uncle, I want to be a wakeboarder. And for people that don't know that, please tell them what that is, because people said that you could never do this with the ailments that you had.
So I'd been water skiing from age 5, and my dad was a champion barefoot water skier. And I would go out and I'd practice and I'd train, and I had this goal to become an Australian champion. I was already a state champion athlete, but I seemed to be held back by fears. And I remember my brother saying, Dan, if you just got out of your head, you'd do really well. He said, but you're tripping yourself up with all of your fears. So I then had an accident, and I believe it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. I created it, and I had my first knee reconstruction, and the doctor said, you won't ride again. and I don't like to be told what to do. And so I went out and rode again, and he was right. I busted my knee again, and I was back there the next year. And he said, I told you this would happen. And I said, yes, but I've got my own journey planned out for my life. And he said, it's not going to work out for you. So I went and reset for a while. I got into real estate. After being in real estate, I said, this is not really what I want for my life at this time. And so I packed the bags, went to the United Kingdom, practiced and trained. I ended up moving over to North Carolina, practiced and trained for 3 months, and went on a journey to prove that I could be and do and have whatever I wanted. And then eventually, after 9 years of failure and 9 years of pain, I became the Australian champion wakeboarder. So I had to face those obstacles, and I proved to myself that I could have what I wanted.
Yes, and you did, right? You became the wakeboarder, and were you successful at that?
I achieved the goal. I was the Australian champion. I was on the front cover. I was on the front cover of the magazines, in the videos, and travelled around the world. I was one of the first professional wakeboarders to go to the United Arab Emirates and teach the expatriates and locals how to wakeboard. So eventually I got what I wanted.
So, I mean, your journey is just simply amazing. It's everything you touch turns to gold, I believe, from talking to you. But it's based on a belief system, isn't it? And that belief system has to do with fear, doubt, and limiting beliefs. So tell us a little bit about those 3 aspects of your journey and how other people that want to achieve things in their own life can apply this to that as well.
On the way to any goal, we've got to overcome 4 fears. And the first fear that I had to overcome was the fear of being taken advantage of. And a gentleman that I spoke to the other day, he described it so well. He said, Daniel, when you have a fear of being taken advantage of, you're afraid to ask for help. Because if you are afraid to ask for help, you'll ask, but then you're thinking, oh my gosh, is this person going to take advantage of me? So back then, I wouldn't ask for help. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed about my limitations. Secondly, we've got to face the fear of rejection. When I started to share my goals with other people and telling them what I wanted, people criticized me. People laughed at me. And I realized that if I wanted to go in some direction in my life, I had to be able to face that rejection and criticism. Thirdly, I had to get out of my comfort zone, and I had to get over that fear of losing my stability, losing the friends that I had, losing the support networks, getting out of my comfort zone. And then the 4th big fear was the fear of trying and failing. And throughout my life, it was a series of trying and failing. And I thought to myself, is this just going to be another one of those episodes where I try and fail? So that were the 4 big fears that I had to overcome. Also, the doubts. I would set a goal, then I'd second guess myself. I'd say, this is what I want, but then the doubts would slip in. Am I ready? Have I trained hard enough? Am I prepared enough? And then worst of all are the self-limiting beliefs. The beliefs, they're the stories that we tell ourselves why we can't have what we want. So when I'm going towards becoming an Australian champion, am I educated enough? Is my body strong enough? Am I ready? Are my competitors too good? And then these self-limiting beliefs, they cause you to second guess yourself. And according to the studies coming out of the Wisconsin Business School, if you consider one of these self-limiting beliefs or one of these doubts, or you get caught up in that fear for a minimum of 10 minutes, that's enough to sabotage your success. So they were the major obstacles that I had to overcome to achieve my goal. And I believe that these are the same obstacles that all of us have to face every time we set a goal.
And do you believe that if everybody sets those intentions that you just talked about, that anybody can achieve what they desire?
Absolutely, 100%. Our DNA, if you stretched our DNA out in a straight line, it could reach from where you are today to the sun and back 300 times. And we are just using just a fraction of our potential, and it comes back to our mindset. It's that inner programming. It's these decisions we've made of what we can and can't do with our life. And we've got to challenge that programming consistently.
Absolutely. And you are proof that it can happen. I believe in that as well. I think the difficulty sometimes for people are that when they do get stuck in those self-doubting beliefs, or the shame or the blame, and they say, I can't do this, or I can't make this happen. Just like you said, if you get stuck there for a certain amount of time, it's difficult to move forward. So what do you suggest that people can do to move themselves forward from the doubts?
To start with the doubts, we've got to start to improve our emotional intelligence. And there's 5 pillars of emotional intelligence. And we always start with self-awareness. We have to understand why we think and feel the way that we do. We've got to understand our strengths and our limitations. We've got to understand our likes and our dislikes in life. And we say in emotional intelligence, if you can't name it, you can't tame it. So you've got to understand, what is that belief that's limiting me? What is that doubt that's holding me back? Which fear do I need to face? Because each of those you have to deal with differently. It's like dealing with fear and dealing with guilt. It's a different approach to regulate that emotion. So we've got to start with that level of emotional awareness. With that level of emotional awareness, it's also having an accurate self-concept. And if you can't name it, you can't tame it. So if you're not exactly certain of what's holding you back, it's very hard to regulate it. So we always start with emotional intelligence.
I think self-awareness is key to anything that you are trying to accomplish in life, from the simplest things to the most difficult. You have to be aware of the choices that you're making, the promises that you're telling yourself, and being aware of what is around you in order to notice when you should act and when you shouldn't. And I think, self-awareness is something that we definitely can teach ourselves. So I agree with you wholeheartedly there. Emotional intelligence. Okay, we talk about that term a lot. I'm not sure, Daniel, people really understand what emotional intelligence is. So I'll let you inform our viewers of that right now.
Well, my parents owned a pawnbroking business, and we owned this pawnbroking business for 17 years. And before emotional intelligence became a fad word, we used to call it being street smart. So emotional intelligence is being street smart. It's understanding yourself, and it's the ability to read other people. So self-awareness is also self-empathy. It's understanding and appreciating yourself. And then the social awareness is understanding other people's emotional makeup and appreciating their strengths and limitations. So it's really being street smart, the ability to read and understand yourself, and the ability to read and understand others.
Exactly. And really it is important that we step back and that we do look at ourselves and we develop self-compassion for ourselves, that we really get to know ourselves. There are so many people that are out in the world that really don't know who they are. And therefore, if you do not know who you are, then you certainly don't know what you want. And I know that you believe in that as much as I do, right?
I do. I say to my clients, I say, do you believe I'm a nice guy? And they say, yes, you are. And I say, could you lend me $1 million? They said, I'd love to, but I don't have $1 million. And I'd say, well, I'm a nice guy. Could you lend me $100,000? And they say, Daniel, I would love to. I just don't have $100,000. So the point I make to them is this, is you can't give what you don't have. So if you don't have self-compassion, if you don't have self-empathy for yourself, you can't have it for others.
Absolutely. I feel the same way. If you're not connected to yourself, it's very difficult to be emotionally connected to others. All right, when we come back from the break, we're going to have more with Daniel Tolson. He is a real life story, everyone, about how you can break through your mental blocks and have whatever you desire. And when we come back, we're going to talk about your emotional life journey and how emotional memory affects that. We'll be back in just a moment.
I feel bad for kicking your seat on purpose.
I'm sorry for mansplaining. That's when a man...
I know what it is.
We should have just told you it's a boy.
I wish you didn't have to hear all that.
Sorry I called you Karen.
That's my name.
Sorry your name is Karen. I promise I will not eat any more of your friends.
Really?
Okay, it might happen one more time.
Hi everyone, my name is Milton Corsi. I'm here with my co-host Mark Iorio. Welcome to Team Talk.
Team Talk's all about bringing teams together, bringing organizations together, bringing a diverse group of people together to make the organization a better, more successful organization. Listening to every single voice in the organization to make it better.
Yeah, our guests are going to include people from industry, people from sports, and other walks of life, and they're going to talk to us about their specific journeys to team success.
Tune in on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. and then again on Thursday evening at 5 p.m. to watch Milton and I talk about Team Talk. We're looking forward to having you join us.
When your family gathers
Hi everyone, welcome back to Dr. Sue and You. I'm so happy you could join me today with my amazing guest, Daniel Tolson. He is an amazing human being. I mean, that's all that I can really say. He's done a lot of good in this world, and he teaches you to unlock your human potential and break through mental blocks. He's mostly known for helping you to unleash your income levels to as high as you want them to go. But today we're talking about something that goes along the lines with all of this. And it's about your emotional intelligence and how important that is to unleash all your potential in anything that you do. So welcome back to the show, Daniel.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. Before we went to the break, we were talking about emotional intelligence and how important that is to achieving your goals in your life. That if you can't have compassion for yourself, you certainly cannot have compassion for others. If you don't care for yourself, you're going to have trouble caring for others' needs as well. But you have been on an emotional life journey most of your life. And you know firsthand that our emotional journeys have something to do with our emotional memories. So can you explain that and the connection?
From the time of conception, we're on an emotional journey from the time of conception. And with technology today, including AI technology, we can actually record and identify your emotional life journey. And we can trace your emotions and the emotions that you've experienced from the final trimester in the womb up until your current age. Now, all of your emotions and the experience and the memory of those emotions get imprinted into a part of the brain called the amygdala. And these things remain active within the mind throughout your whole life. Now, these emotions cause you to have emotional responses and emotional triggers to certain events. Now, a good example is one of my clients. She can recall, now this is another thing that hopefully we get to talk about, in a regression, she was able to recall the time of conception when her parents were arguing. She was able to also recall arguments that her parents had when her father wanted to abort her at age 3 months. And these memories and the emotional memories get imprinted into the amygdala. And then throughout our life, when we face rejection, it triggers off all of these emotional memories. And essentially we have what's called an emotional hijack. The emotions are so strong that we can't think clearly, and we start to act without thinking.
Yes. And that happens oftentimes when we are in fear, or we have self-doubt, or we have limiting beliefs. It does. It brings up those memories from before where we may have felt all those feelings and stuck in time. But you're doing some very interesting work around this to help people overcome those fears and, unleash their life. So tell us about the work that you are doing and how that is helpful.
My clients normally have a feeling, they say, Daniel, I feel stuck and I don't know what to do next. And they look around and they look at their life and they say, I've bought the house, I'm driving the nice car, I've got the lovely career, I've got the nice partner, I should be happy. However, they don't feel that happiness and they don't feel that joy. And so they start to doubt and second guess themselves. They even feel like an imposter and they say, how did I get here? It seemed just too easy and now I'm afraid to lose it all. And normally they go through what's called a period of darkness, a period of confusion. They're looking for answers and really they're trying to understand themselves. So when my clients come to me, I take them on that emotional life journey. I help them understand who they are. I help them understand their belief systems, the beliefs that work for them and don't work for them, and also those traumatic memories that have been holding them back. And as part of working with them, we do a series of emotional release techniques. We help them overcome those fears. And what happens is once they overcome the fears today, they also let go of all of those fears from the past, and they stop worrying about the future. They also overcome the sadness and the disappointments. And people today, we have so many disappointments in our life. We set goals, we don't achieve them. We have career goals and we never get them. We have family goals and we never reach them. And we experience so many disappointments. And that emotional baggage builds up over years. So when my clients come to work with me, I'm helping them get rid of the emotional junk in the trunk. And once they're free from that, it's like the handbrake in life has been taken off and they start to accelerate towards success.
I was just smiling, as you were talking, because it is so true. Once you can release what is holding you back emotionally, your whole world opens up in so many different ways. Your relationships get better. You're even more successful at your career. You become a better parent. Whatever it is, you unlock that potential within yourself and unlocks everything around you.
100%.
Yes. And it's all because we do not oftentimes have the ability to really look at ourselves and take that leap of faith to do so. And you work with people with money. But what you're saying that is fascinating is even to be even more successful in that field, you have to do the inner work of looking at yourself. How does that unlock your potential in being successful in money?
I remember a fascinating case study that I was working on. A gentleman came to me and he was successfully earning $50,000 per month. So big income, but his goal was $100,000. And he always said to himself and to me, he'd say, Daniel, I'm my own worst enemy. I sabotage my own success and I can't get past this $50,000. Now, he'd done all the things. He got new business strategies. He worked on his business. Nothing changed. And what I've learned in life is the fish rots from the head down. And oftentimes we need a checkup from the neck up. So we started to look at his belief systems, and he was carrying a lot of guilt, Sue. See, about 10 years before, he cheated on his wife, and his wife caught him with another woman. But he had a phenomenal wife, and she said, I forgive you, we're going to work through this, we're going to get counseling. They got through that, and he almost got like that get out of jail free card. He got away with it. But then after about 10 years, he started to think to himself, how could I do this to the person that I love? And then he started to sabotage his own success, and he started to punish himself and sabotage success by not being able to make the money that he desired. So once we went back and dealt with the guilt and he had forgiven himself and he took that handbrake off and that anchor off from the past, he started to move towards his goal because he started to feel worthy of that success rather than punishing himself for something that happened in the past.
And also he stopped punishing himself as well for not achieving the goal over the $50,000. He let go of that and opened himself up to allowing more to come.
The fascinating thing, Sue, what he said to me was he said, Daniel, by only earning $50,000, I'm still punishing my wife. I've punished her emotionally. So he let all of that go, and then within 90 days, doubled his income and started earning $100,000 a month. The same business, the same marketplace, the same product, the same service, the same price, but he had just unleashed and unlocked that potential within himself.
It's amazing. Why do you think that so many people get stuck and don't believe in what we are discussing today? Is it because they say, that's not possible, I could never do that, lots of this is just luck, or people have old money, or somebody gives them money? What is it, in your opinion, that leaves them stuck where they are and not able to move forward and unleash?
Self-worth and self-esteem. They don't feel worthy of the good things in life. They don't believe they're entitled to these nice things. And like you said, they see it's possible. They don't doubt it. They don't doubt it for you. They don't doubt it for the other people. They just don't believe it's true for themselves. And it comes down to that self-worth and self-esteem. And one of the things with my clients is we always raise that level of self-esteem so they feel worthy of their goals, so they feel worthy of loving relationships, and so they even feel worthy of love from other people. Once they solve the self-worth and self-esteem issue, anything's possible.
And that's why that client of yours that wanted to go from 50 to 100,000 a month could not do that until he felt worthy of himself. And when he felt worthy of himself, I'm guessing that his self-esteem went up, and therefore he let go and he was able to accomplish everything that he wanted because he felt good about who he was and who he was becoming.
100%. His relationships got better with his wife and his children. He became a stronger leader, and he became a different person, and he had a bigger impact in his community.
Exactly. So do you believe it's time to already wrap up the show already? I don't. But we do have to. I mean, I could go on and talking to you about this and how important emotional intelligence is to us being successful emotionally and financially as well. Really, Daniel, that is the key to success in everything that we do. We must be present emotionally about what is going on within us and really stick to our beliefs and not be swayed by others that may come in to doubt it, because those people are really doubting themselves. They're not doubting you, they're doubting themselves and believe that they can't do it. So it really comes down to believing in yourself.
I believe that if all of us just told ourselves what we could do rather than what we can't do, we would have a better society, would have a better country, would live in a better world. So start to tell ourselves what we can do rather than what we can't do.
I love that, and I want to end on that note because you're absolutely right about that. Now tell the world how they can get in touch with you.
Come and play. Come and visit my website, danieltolson.com, or write to me personally, daniel@danieltolson.com.
And Daniel, we are going to get you here to the States because you need to be here doing this and teaching more people what you have done to change other people's lives. It's amazing. Keep on doing it. Keep on being you, because it's just truly amazing what you have accomplished and the light that you are giving off to others to do the same. So I thank you so much for being here with me today and teaching us all how to unleash our potential.
Thank you, Dr. Sue. As soon as we can get there, we'll be flying straight to Philadelphia.
And I will be taking you for the best cheesesteak you've ever had. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us today on the Dr. Sue and You show. I can't wait to meet you in person. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Dr. Sue and You. Wow, did we learn something very special today from Daniel Tolson. That you can unleash your potential to do anything in this life. And as I have always taught you, and I always have said, it begins with believing in yourself. You are the catalyst to anything that you want to accomplish within your life. It begins with you. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Dr. Sue. Thanks again for joining me for Dr. Sue and You.